This is Tara Ramos teaching Algebra 1. Take 1.
Thank you, Kylie. Hi, Dan, Jamie, and Earl. First off, let me say I apologize for how lengthy it's been. I was having computer problems yesterday, so I took it into a family member today, and my hard drive totally crashed. So all the PowerPoints and stuff that I had on my computer are just gone. So anyhow, I wrote a little lesson up, and obviously I don't have students, so bear with me. On a normal day in my classroom, I would have the California Content Standard posted, and the one I'm going to be talking about today is the students graph a linear equation and compute the x and y intercepts, and I believe that's Algebra 6.0, which I didn't know. Okay, so on a daily basis, the students are aware that when they walk in, they're to write down what we're doing for that day and their objective. So their objective for today obviously would be x and y intercepts. So what I would start off with is recalling what the x-axis is and what the y-axis is. And we would probably would have done it the day before, a day or two before, and just review that with the kids. And I'd start by just having them use these individual whiteboards, and I'd have them copy the points that I have up here on the big whiteboard or the PowerPoint slide or on the smartboard, and I'd have them identify what each of the points are, the x value and the y value, x coordinate and y coordinate. I obviously wouldn't have them up here until after. So we would, I would let them work in their groups. After they copied and identified all 6 points and discussed it with their groups, we talk about what the actual points are, and we discuss what comes first, the x value or the y value, and a little mnemonic would be alphabetical order. X is always before y, just like in a point. X comes first, y comes second. So the reason obviously I'm doing that is so that they can identify what each point is and what can we conclude from this. So at this point, I have the students collaborate with each other and talk about what we can conclude from the points on the x-axis and what we can conclude from the points on the y-axis. So we would, and we're copying all this stuff down in our notes, other than the board work. So this is what's going to go on their notes. Number 2, all points lie on the x-axis, have a y-coordinate value of 0. And similarly, all points that lie on the y-axis have an x-coordinate or value of 0. So kind of like opposites, that could be the mnemonic for that. If you're looking for the x-axis, the x-intercept, you're going to substitute 0 for y. If you're looking for the y-intercept, you're going to substitute 0 for x. Excuse me. Then we'd move into, let's see my next board here. Recalling that the graph of a linear equation may be graphed with at least 2 points. So you have to have at least 2 points to be able to graph any linear equation. You can have more, obviously, but at least 2 are required. So first off, the y-intercept definition would be the point at which the graph, also known as the line, passes through the y-axis. And similarly, the x-intercept is a point at which the graph or line passes through the x-axis. So the kids are going to be copying this stuff onto their notes so that they have the notes with them at all times. I always front load definitions and vocabulary so that they have those readily available for them. So after we define what these things are, then we're going to move into how to find them. How to identify the y-intercept of a linear equation. Step 1, and kids love steps. Substitute 0 for x. Step 2, solve for y. Another way for them to remember it is to get x alone by itself on either side of the equation. And we would have reviewed this before, or gone over it rather, before opposite operations and so forth. And how to identify the x-intercept of a linear equation. Step 1, substitute 0 for y. And step 2, solve for x. In other words, get x alone on one side of the equation. Okay, so we've gone over the vocabulary, definitions, how to get these items, and now we're going to do some practice. And the whole time that we're doing this type of lesson, the kids are sitting in their groups and collaborating together. Practice. Graph the following equation. Identify and plot the x-intercept. That's step 1. Second thing that kids are to do is identify and plot the that should be the y-intercept. Number 3, draw a line through the 2 points. And number 4, label your graph. So here's an example of something I would give them. And they would work it out within their graphs, within their groups. And I chose this equation because it's going to give a intercept that isn't a whole number, so that they're going to be able to get a little bit of that as well. Intercepts are not always going through a whole number. They could be fractions, decimals, and so forth. So they'd work on that together, and then they would probably graph it on either graph paper in their binder or these handy dandy little boards that I have for all students. They can group it together, or graph it together rather, and identify the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and plot them, draw the line through both those points, and then finally label their graph. So, I mean, that's just a really rough idea of a common lesson in my classroom, and I apologize that I don't have students to interact with, but please give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.